Aristotle's saying. Anyone can become angry, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. Have you ever said something in anger, and the moment those words left your lips, you wished, desperately, painfully, that you could take them back? Perhaps it was to someone you loved, a parent, a partner, a friend, someone who meant the world to you. And in one unguarded moment, one flash of emotion, you said something that could not be unsaid. Or perhaps you have watched someone else, brilliant, educated, talented, destroy their career, their marriage, their reputation. Not because they lacked intelligence, but because they could not manage what they felt inside. We have all been there. We have all witnessed it. And here is the question that this video is going to answer. The question that one of the most important books of the 20th century dared to ask. What if the greatest predictor of success in life is not how smart you are, but how well you understand and manage your own emotions? Welcome. What you are about to hear will not merely inform you. It will change the way you see yourself, the people around you, and the invisible forces that govern every decision, every relationship, and every achievement in your life. This is the story of emotional intelligence. This is the work of Daniel Goleman. Who is Daniel Goleman? Before we enter the world of emotional intelligence, we must first meet the man who brought it to the world's attention. Daniel Goleman was born in 1946 in Stockton, California. From an early age, he was drawn not merely to facts and figures, but to the deeper mysteries of the human mind, to the question of why people behave the way they do, why intelligent people sometimes make terrible decisions, and why some individuals with modest academic credentials seemed to thrive while others with exceptional IQ stumbled. He studied at Amherst College and later earned his PhD in clinical psychology and personality development from Harvard University, one of the most prestigious institutions in the world. There, he was influenced by giants of psychological thought, including David McClelland, whose research would later shape Goleman's own ideas about human performance. For years, Goleman worked as a science journalist for the New York Times, translating complex psychological and neurological research into language that ordinary people could understand and apply. He had a rare gift, the ability to stand at the intersection of science and story, and to make the invisible forces of the human mind visible. Then, in 1995, he published a book that would change everything. Emotional Intelligence: Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. The book became a global phenomenon. It spent over a year on the New York Times bestseller list. It was translated into 40 languages. It reached more than 5 million readers worldwide. Time magazine named it one of the 25 most influential business and management books ever written. But more importantly, it started a conversation that the world desperately needed to have. A conversation about the difference between being educated and being wise, between being intelligent and being effective, between knowing the right answer and knowing how to live. Goleman did not invent the term emotional intelligence. That credit belongs to psychologists Peter Salovey and John Mayer, who first formally defined it in 1990. But Goleman took their academic framework, enriched it with neuroscience, psychology, and real-world evidence, and brought it to a global audience. He made it human. He made it urgent. He made it impossible to ignore. So, what exactly did he say? What is emotional intelligence? Imagine two students. Both graduate from the same university with the same degree and the same grades. Both are hired by the same company. Both are given the same opportunities. 10 years later, one is a senior leader, respected, influential, loved by her team, and consistently delivering results. The other is still in the same role he started in, frustrated, overlooked, struggling in his relationships both at work and at home. What is the difference? It is not IQ. It is not technical skill. It is not academic qualification. The difference, Goleman argues with extraordinary evidence, is emotional intelligence, or as it is widely abbreviated, EQ. Goleman defines emotional intelligence as the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and effectively use emotions, both our own and those of others. He breaks this down into 5 core domains. 1. Self-awareness. Knowing what you feel and why you feel it. 2. Self-regulation. Managing your emotions rather than being controlled by them. 3. Motivation. Channeling your emotions toward meaningful goals. 4. Empathy. Understanding and feeling what others experience. 5. Social skills. Using emotional awareness to build strong, effective relationships. These are not soft, vague concepts. They are measurable, learnable, and profoundly consequential competencies that shape every dimension of our lives. But here is what most people do not realize. Emotional intelligence does not mean being nice. It does not mean suppressing your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It does not mean being passive, gentle, or endlessly agreeable. Emotional intelligence means being honest with yourself about what you feel. It means having the courage to sit with difficult emotions rather than running from them. It means responding to the world with intention, rather than reacting to it with impulse. It is the difference between a person who, upon receiving devastating news, falls apart and makes decisions they later regret, and a person who feels that same devastation, acknowledges it fully, and still finds a way to move forward with clarity and purpose. It is, in the deepest sense, the intelligence of being human. Now the 2 minds, emotion versus reason. To truly understand emotional intelligence, we must first understand something remarkable about the human brain. Goleman describes what he calls the 2 minds, 2 fundamentally different ways in which we process and respond to the world around us. The first mind is the rational mind, thoughtful, analytical, deliberate. This is the mind you use when you solve a mathematics problem, plan a project, or carefully consider a difficult decision. It is slow, measured, and precise. The second mind is the emotional mind, fast, powerful, and often impulsive. This is the mind that makes you cry during a film before you have even consciously processed what you are feeling. It is the mind that floods your body with adrenaline when you sense danger. It is the mind that has been shaped by millions of years of evolution to keep you alive. In a well-functioning human being, these 2 minds work in harmony, the emotional mind providing passion, energy, and intuition, while the rational mind provides direction, reflection, and wisdom. But here is where it gets fascinating. Deep within the brain lies a structure called the amygdala, 2 small, almond-shaped clusters of neurons that sit at the very center of our emotional memory. The amygdala is the brain's emotional sentinel. It is constantly scanning everything you experience, every face, every tone of voice, every situation, and asking one primal question. Does this threaten me? Should I fight? Should I flee? The amygdala acts faster than thought. It acts faster than consciousness. By the time your rational brain has even begun to process a threatening situation, your amygdala has already flooded your body with stress hormones, tensed your muscles, elevated your heart rate, and prepared you for battle. This was a brilliant evolutionary design. When our ancestors faced a predator on the savannah, there was no time for deliberation. Survival required instant reaction. But we do not live on the savannah anymore. Today, the same ancient system fires when your boss criticizes you in a meeting, when your partner says something that wounds you, when someone cuts you off in traffic, when you receive an email that feels disrespectful. Your amygdala cannot tell the difference between a lion and a difficult conversation. It simply reacts. And when that happens, when emotion floods the rational brain and overrides it, Goleman calls it something precise and chilling: an amygdala hijack. Now, emotional hijacking. When the brain betrays. You let us meet Richard. Richard is 42 years old. He is a senior manager at a respected firm. He is educated, articulate, and by all external measures, successful. He has worked for 20 years to reach his position. He is, by any objective standard, a capable and intelligent man. One afternoon, during a quarterly review meeting, a junior colleague challenges one of Richard's proposals in front of the entire team. The challenge is not malicious. In fact, it is quite reasonable. But something shifts in Richard's chest, a hot, rising tide of humiliation and anger. And before Richard's rational mind can catch up, before he can pause, breathe, assess, respond, he says something sharp, something dismissive, something that makes the room fall silent and the junior colleague's face go pale. The meeting ends. Richard spends the rest of the day defending his outburst. The junior colleague begins quietly looking for another job. 3 members of the team lose confidence in Richard's leadership. And Richard himself lies awake that night, asking the same question over and over. Why did I do that? This is an amygdala hijack. Goleman describes it as a neural emergency, a moment when the emotional brain overwhelms the rational brain so completely that we act not from our values, not from our intentions, not from our wisdom, but from pure, primal reactivity. And the most dangerous aspect of the amygdala hijack is this: in the moment it is happening, it feels completely justified. The anger feels righteous. The fear feels rational. The impulse feels like truth. But here is what most people do not realize about the amygdala hijack. It is not a character flaw. It is not weakness. It is not stupidity. It is biology. Every human being on this planet is vulnerable to it. The difference between people with high emotional intelligence and those without it is not that the emotionally intelligent never experience the hijack. It is that they have developed the awareness and the skills to recognize it, interrupt it, and recover from it far more quickly. Goleman cites research showing that it takes the average person up to several hours for the stress chemicals released during an amygdala hijack to fully clear the body. During those hours, we are biologically less capable of clear thinking, empathy, and rational decision-making. But with emotional intelligence, with practice, with self-awareness, that recovery time can be dramatically shortened, and the frequency of the hijacks themselves can be reduced. The brain, as Goleman reminds us, is not static. It is plastic. It can learn. It can change. And that is perhaps the most hopeful message in this entire book. Now, self-awareness, the foundation of everything. If emotional intelligence were a building, self-awareness would be its foundation. Without self-awareness, everything else collapses. You cannot regulate emotions you do not know you are having. You cannot empathize with others if you have never learned to sit honestly with yourself. You cannot lead, connect, or inspire if the person you understand least is the one looking back at you in the mirror. Goleman defines self-awareness as the ability to recognize your emotions as they arise, to observe them without being overwhelmed by them, and to understand how they shape your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Imagine this. You are sitting in a traffic jam, late for an important meeting. You feel a tightening in your chest. Your grip on the steering wheel tightens. You find yourself rehearsing what you are going to say when you arrive. An explanation, an apology, perhaps an excuse. A person with low self-awareness is completely inside this storm. They are the anxiety. They are the frustration. They react, perhaps snapping at the driver who eventually answers their call, perhaps arriving at the meeting with a scattered, defensive energy that undermines them before they have even spoken. A person with high self-awareness notices something different. They feel the tightening in the chest, and they name it. I am anxious right now. I am worried about how this will appear. That act of naming, what neuroscientists call affect labeling, creates a crucial pause between the emotion and the response. It engages the rational brain. It reduces the power of the amygdala. The simple act of naming what you feel changes your relationship to it. Goleman draws on research from psychologist John Mayer, who identifies 3 distinct levels of self-awareness. The self-aware. People who have clarity about their emotional states. They are not slaves to their moods. When they feel something intensely, they can still maintain perspective. They understand that emotions are data, not directives. The engulfed. People who are overwhelmed by their emotions and feel powerless over them. They are often moody, volatile, or anxious, not because they are weak, but because no one ever taught them how to observe their inner life from a position of strength. The accepting. People who are aware of their moods but simply accept them without attempting to change them. They may say, "Yes, I am always like this." This acceptance, while sometimes healthy, can become a prison when used to justify patterns that cause harm. The path to emotional intelligence begins with the honest, courageous decision to know yourself, truly know yourself, without judgment, without denial, and without the comfortable fiction that you have nothing left to discover about your own inner world. This is not comfortable work, but it is the most important work you will ever do. Self-regulation, the art of emotional mastery. In 1972, a researcher at Stanford University named Walter Mischel conducted an experiment that would become one of the most famous studies in the history of psychology. He placed young children, most of them around 4 years old, in a room, one at a time. On the table in front of each child, he placed a single marshmallow. He then told each child, "I am going to leave the room for a few minutes. If you can wait until I come back without eating the marshmallow, I will give you 2 marshmallows when I return. If you eat it now, you will only get the 1." Some children ate the marshmallow immediately. Some waited in various stages of agony, covering their eyes, talking to themselves, singing, turning away from the temptation. And some managed to wait. Mischel followed these children for decades. And what he found was staggering. The children who had been able to wait, who had demonstrated what psychologists call delayed gratification, the ability to resist an immediate reward for a greater future reward, were dramatically more successful in virtually every measurable area of life. They had higher academic achievement, stronger relationships, better health, and greater career success. They were also less likely to struggle with addiction, depression, or persistent anxiety. This is self-regulation, and Goleman argues it is one of the most powerful forces in human life. Self-regulation does not mean suppressing your emotions. This is a crucial distinction. Suppression, pushing feelings underground, pretending they do not exist, does not make emotions disappear. It amplifies them. It turns them into pressure that eventually explodes, often 16 at the worst possible moment. True self-regulation means something far more nuanced. It means feeling the emotion fully and then choosing how to respond to it. It means holding the anger without becoming the anger. It means feeling the fear without being paralyzed by it. It means sitting with grief without drowning in it. Goleman identifies several key qualities of people with high self-regulation. Thoughtfulness. They do not make impulsive decisions. They pause before they speak in heated moments. They think before they act. Comfort with ambiguity. They can tolerate uncertainty without becoming anxious or reactive. They do not need to resolve every tension immediately. Integrity. Because they are not ruled by impulse, their actions align with their values. They do what they say they will do. Openness to change. They can adapt. When circumstances shift, they adjust without defensiveness or rigidity. But here is perhaps the most powerful insight Goleman offers about self-regulation. It is not a talent. It is a skill. It is a muscle that strengthens with use. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you choose a considered response over an impulsive one, you are building neural pathways that make that choice easier the next time. You are quite literally rewiring your brain. Motivation, the fire that does not go out. Let me tell you about a woman named Wilma Rudolph. Wilma was born prematurely in 1940, the 20th of 22 children in a poor family in rural Tennessee. At 4 years old, she contracted polio. Doctors told her family that she would never walk normally. She wore a metal brace on her left leg for most of her childhood. At 12 years old, she removed the brace and walked without it for the first time. At 16, she qualified for the 1956 Olympic Games. At 20, she went to the 1960 Olympics in Rome and won 3 gold medals, becoming the fastest woman in the world. When asked where she found her extraordinary drive, Wilma Rudolph said something that echoes through the pages of Goleman's work. "My doctors told me I would never walk. My mother told me I would. I believed my mother." This is motivation as Goleman describes it, not the shallow, fleeting kind that comes from external rewards, but the deep, sustaining kind that is rooted in a passionate belief in one's own purpose. Goleman identifies the emotional component of motivation as the defining characteristic of high achievers. He draws on psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's concept of flow, that extraordinary state of effortless focus and deep engagement that the most motivated people seem able to access more readily than others. People who are emotionally motivated share several distinct characteristics. A passion to work for reasons beyond money or status. They are driven by the intrinsic satisfaction of doing something well, something meaningful, something that matters. An endless capacity for optimism, even in the face of failure. They do not interpret setbacks as evidence of their inadequacy, they interpret them as information that helps them improve. A strong organizational commitment. They are loyal, not because they are told to be, but because they genuinely care about the mission. A tendency to pursue goals with energy and persistence. They do not stop at the first obstacle. They do not stop at the second or the third. Goleman also introduces the concept of achievement drive, and he notes something counterintuitive about it. The most highly motivated people are not the most aggressive or the most competitive. They are the most engaged. They care deeply, not about winning, but about growing, improving, and contributing. And here is what this means for you. If you feel unmotivated, if the fire inside you has dimmed or gone out entirely, the problem may not be laziness. It may not be a lack of talent. It may be that you have not yet found the thing you care enough about to endure the difficulty that all meaningful pursuits require. Emotional intelligence helps you find that thing. And once found, it helps you protect it. Now empathy, the bridge between souls. There is a story that Goleman tells, and it is one I want you to hold with care. A woman boards a New York City subway train late at night. She is visibly distressed, her eyes red, her posture folded inward, her hands trembling slightly in her lap. The carriage is full of people. Most of them are staring at their phones, their newspapers, their shoes. Nobody speaks to her. One man looks up. He sees her. Not merely the surface of her, not just a woman on a train, but the reality of her distress. He feels something shift in his chest. He moves across the aisle and says quietly, "Are you all right?" She bursts into tears. She tells him her mother has just died. He sits with her for the next 40 minutes, saying very little, simply being present. When her stop comes, she thanks him in a way that suggests she will remember that moment for the rest of her life. That man had something that no amount of IQ testing can measure. He had empathy. Goleman defines empathy as the fundamental people skill, the ability to sense, understand, and respond to the emotional reality of another person. It is, he argues, rooted in our neurology, in mirror neurons, remarkable cells in the brain that fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing the same action. They are the biological basis of our capacity to feel what others feel. But empathy is more than a neurological phenomenon. Goleman identifies three distinct forms of empathy. Cognitive empathy, the ability to understand intellectually how another person sees the world. This is the empathy of the skilled negotiator, the masterful teacher, the wise leader. Emotional empathy, the ability to feel, in your own body, what another person is feeling. This is the empathy that makes us cry at funerals we attend for people we barely knew. Compassionate empathy, the form that moves us not merely to understand or feel, but to act, to help, to reach across the gap between self and other. Goleman cites research showing that empathy begins developing in the earliest days of life. Infants, studies have found, will begin to cry when they hear another infant crying, not because they understand the situation intellectually, but because their emotional systems are already attuned to distress. And yet, for many adults, this natural empathic capacity has been dulled by trauma, by cultural conditioning that prizes toughness over tenderness, by the relentless pace of modern life that leaves little space for truly attending to another human being. Goleman argues that the cultivation of empathy is not merely a personal virtue, it is a social necessity. In a world increasingly fractured by misunderstanding, dehumanization, and tribalism, empathy may be the single most important skill we can choose to develop. Social skills, the power of human connection. Think of the most genuinely influential person you have ever known. Not the loudest, not the most aggressive, not the one who dominated every room they entered. Think of the person who, when they walked in, made everyone feel more at ease. The person who remembered your name, remembered what you had told them last time, and made you feel, truly, genuinely feel, as though you mattered. That person had social intelligence. And Goleman argues it is the culmination of everything emotional intelligence builds toward. Social skills, in Goleman's framework, are not the tricks of the charming extrovert. They are not manipulation. They are not performance. They are the natural outgrowth of self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, and empathy, translated into action in the context of human relationships. The socially skilled individual possesses a remarkable set of abilities. Influence, the ability to move people not through force or authority, but through genuine persuasion rooted in understanding what matters to them. Communication, not merely the ability to speak clearly, but to listen deeply, to hear not just the words but the emotions behind them. Conflict management, the ability to navigate disagreement without escalation, to find the path through tension that leaves both parties feeling heard. Leadership, the capacity to inspire others by connecting with their emotions, not merely their intellect. Collaboration, the deep satisfaction of working with others toward a shared goal, and the ability to create the conditions in which that kind of collaboration becomes possible. Goleman draws on the work of sociologist Mark Granovetter, who demonstrated in landmark research that the most successful people in any field, regardless of their technical competence, are those with the richest and most diverse networks of genuine relationships. Not contacts, relationships. There is a profound difference. A contact is someone who knows your name. A relationship is someone who knows your character and trusts it. The socially skilled person builds relationships because they are genuinely interested in other people. They ask questions and actually listen to the answers. They remember details, not because they are performing attentiveness, but because they actually care. And in a world where genuine human connection is becoming increasingly rare, increasingly crowded out by the noise of digital distraction and the performative nature of public life, this quality has never been more valuable and never more needed. Now EQ versus IQ, the real predictor of success. For most of the 20th century, IQ reigned supreme. Intelligence tests, first developed in the early 1900s, promised a scientific, objective measure of human potential. Employers used them. Universities used them. Governments used them. The assumption was seductive in its simplicity. The smarter you are, the more successful you will be. And there is truth in this assumption. IQ does predict certain kinds of academic success. It does correlate with performance on specific technical tasks. It matters. But here is what the data shows, and Goleman presents decades of research to make this case with extraordinary force. IQ accounts for approximately 20% of the factors that determine life success. 20%. That leaves 80% determined by something else, by factors that traditional intelligence tests do not measure, and in many cases, cannot even imagine. Goleman cites a study of 450 boys from the poverty-stricken areas of Somerville, Massachusetts, who were followed across decades of their lives. The researchers found that IQ had very little correlation with how well these men ultimately did in work or in the rest of their lives. What did predict their success? Childhood abilities such as being able to handle frustration, control their emotions, and get along with other people. He cites research on Harvard graduates and valedictorians, people who represented the pinnacle of academic achievement, and finds that by midlife, many of them had been surpassed professionally by people with far more modest academic credentials but far superior emotional and social skills. He presents research from Bell Labs, one of the most demanding technical environments in the world, showing that the engineers who were considered the most valuable by their peers were not the ones with the highest IQs. They were the ones with the best relationship skills, the ones who collaborated effectively, the ones who people wanted to work with. This is not a case against intelligence. It is a case for a more complete and honest understanding of what intelligence means. A high IQ with a low EQ is like a sports car with no steering wheel. The engine is powerful. The potential is extraordinary. But without the ability to direct it, without emotional wisdom, it becomes dangerous to both the driver and everyone around them. Raising emotionally intelligent children. Of all the arguments Goleman makes, this one carries perhaps the greatest urgency, because it speaks not merely to what we can do for ourselves, but to what we owe the next generation. Goleman is unequivocal. The emotional habits a child develops in their early years will follow them throughout their entire life. The capacity for self-awareness, for managing frustration, for empathy, for resilience, these are not innate and fixed. They are learned, and they are learned primarily from parents, caregivers, and teachers. He describes research on what he calls emotion coaching, a parenting approach in which adults treat their children's difficult emotions not as inconveniences to be dismissed, but as important signals to be acknowledged and understood. The emotion coaching parent does not say, "Stop crying. There is nothing to cry about." The emotion coaching parent says, "I can see you are really upset right now. Can you tell me what you are feeling?" The difference between these two responses is not merely stylistic. It is neurological. When a child's emotions are consistently validated and named, when they are helped to build a rich vocabulary for their inner life, the neural pathways associated with emotional regulation develop more fully. These children become better at managing stress. They perform better academically. They form stronger friendships. They demonstrate greater resilience in the face of adversity. Conversely, Goleman presents research showing that children raised in emotionally dismissive or unpredictable environments, where emotions are treated as signs of weakness, or where the emotional climate is chaotic and frightening, face significantly elevated risks of anxiety, depression, aggression, and learning difficulties. This is not about blame. No parent is perfect. No childhood is perfectly emotionally attuned. Goleman is not prescribing guilt. He is prescribing awareness. Because awareness is where change begins. Now, emotional intelligence in the workplace. Let us speak now about where most of us spend the majority of our waking hours: the workplace. Goleman dedicates significant portions of his book to demonstrating that emotional intelligence is not a nice to have in professional life. It is, he argues, the core competency that distinguishes outstanding performers from average ones, across virtually every industry, every role, and every level of an organization. He presents a landmark analysis conducted by the consulting firm Hay/McBear, which examined thousands of leaders across dozens of companies worldwide. The researchers found that emotionally intelligent leaders created climates in which their teams significantly outperformed their peers, not by a little, but by substantial margins. These leaders drove higher revenue, better retention, stronger innovation, and deeper employee engagement. The study also found something disturbing. Leaders with poor emotional intelligence, particularly those who lacked self-awareness and empathy, created toxic emotional climates that suppressed performance, drove out talent, and generated fear that masqueraded as compliance. Goleman is particularly sharp on the subject of leadership. He argues that the command and control model of leadership, the domineering, autocratic leader who relies on authority and fear, is not merely unpleasant. It is economically destructive. When people are afraid, the amygdala hijack becomes their constant state. Anxiety suppresses creativity. Fear kills collaboration. And the best people, the ones with the most options, live. The emotionally intelligent leader, by contrast, creates what Goleman calls resonance, a positive emotional climate in which people feel safe, valued, and inspired. In such environments, the best in people consistently emerges. He also addresses the myth of the star individual performer, the idea that individual brilliance is the ultimate measure of professional value. In study after study, Goleman finds that the most effective organizations succeed not because of a few brilliant individuals, but because of the quality of their collective emotional intelligence, the ability of teams to communicate honestly, manage conflict constructively, and build genuine trust. Your technical skill may get you hired. Your emotional intelligence will determine how far you go. Now, can emotional intelligence be learned? By this point in our journey, you may be asking yourself one critical question. All of this is compelling. All of this resonates. But can it actually change? Can I develop emotional intelligence if I was not born with it, if it was not cultivated in my childhood? The answer, Goleman insists with scientific conviction, is yes. Unlike IQ, which is relatively fixed from childhood, Emotional intelligence can be meaningfully developed at any stage of life. The brain's neuroplasticity means that the neural circuits underlying emotional intelligence can be strengthened through deliberate practice, just as a musician strengthens their technique through hours of disciplined rehearsal. Goleman draws on research from neuroscientist Richard Davidson, who demonstrated that contemplative practices, including mindfulness meditation, can measurably alter the brain's emotional circuits, shifting patterns of reactivity toward greater calm, clarity, and compassion. He describes the mechanisms of emotional learning, how new emotional habits are built not through intellectual understanding alone, but through repeated practice in real emotional situations. You cannot simply read about self-regulation and become more regulated. You must practice pausing when you feel the impulse to react. You must practice naming your emotions day after day, until the habit of self-observation becomes second nature. Here are Goleman's core practical prescriptions for developing emotional intelligence. 30. Build a daily practice of self-reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I feel today? When did my emotions drive my behavior? Were my responses aligned with my values? This is not self-criticism, it is self-education. Develop an emotional vocabulary. Most people operate with a very limited set of emotion words: happy, sad, angry, anxious. The research of psychologist Lisa Feldman Barrett shows that the more granular your emotional vocabulary, the more precisely you can distinguish between, say, irritation and contempt, or nervousness and excitement, the more effectively your brain can regulate what you feel. Practice the pause. Before responding in any emotionally charged situation, practice a single conscious breath. Not as a technique, but as a moment of genuine return to yourself. Cultivate genuine curiosity about other people. Put your phone away when someone is speaking to you. Ask a follow-up question. Listen not to respond, but to understand. Seek honest feedback. Find people in your life who will tell you the truth about how you affect them, and receive that truth without defensiveness. Notice your body. Emotions live in the body before they become thoughts. Learn to recognize your physical cues, the tightening in the chest, the heat in the face, the hollow in the stomach, as early warning signals of what your emotional mind is experiencing. These are not grand gestures. They are small, daily choices. But compounded over time, they produce a transformation that no academic credential can replicate. Now a final word, the choice that defines you. We began this journey with a question. Have you ever said something in anger and immediately wished you could take it back? Of course you have, because you are human. And being human means being emotional, means carrying within you a vast, complex, often contradictory inner world of feeling that shapes everything you think and do and say and become. The question is never whether you have emotions. The question is whether your emotions have you. Daniel Goleman spent decades studying the most successful, most fulfilled, most deeply connected human beings on this planet. And what he found, in boardrooms and classrooms, in research laboratories and living rooms, in the data of science and the stories of lives, is this. The people who thrive are not the most brilliant. They are not the most educated. They are not even the most talented. They are the ones who know themselves, who have developed the courage to sit with what they feel, the wisdom to manage it with integrity, and the generosity to use that understanding in service of genuine human connection. Emotional intelligence is not a gift reserved for the few. It is a capacity that resides within every human being, waiting to be cultivated, waiting to be deepened, waiting to be brought to bear on the remarkable, irreplaceable, often difficult, always meaningful work of being alive. The neuroscientists tell us the brain can change. The psychologists tell us the patterns can shift. And the evidence of countless human lives tells us that it is never too late to become someone more aware, more regulated, more compassionate, more connected than who you were yesterday. That is the promise of emotional intelligence. That is the legacy of Daniel Goleman's extraordinary work. And that now is your invitation. If this video has moved something in you, if it has made you think about your own emotional life in a new way, then I invite you to do one thing before this day ends. First, breathe and ask yourself, honestly and without judgment, what am I feeling right now? And what is it trying to tell me?